Hi there, it's Jenna from scribbleandgrace.com. Today we're talking all about brush pen calligraphy. So if you have never done any kind of calligraphy before, I highly recommend that you check out my videos, blog post, and free worksheet that is for that, the faux calligraphy. I'll put those links in the description below. That's a great place to start to learning the basics and figuring out where your upstrokes and your downstrokes are. So today I'm going to be talking about brush pen calligraphy though, which is kind of the next step. It's also great for beginners. Alright, so let's get started. So to give you kind of a overview of what calligraphy is, all three forms of calligraphy, whether that's faux calligraphy, brush pen calligraphy, or dip pen calligraphy, which is the original calligraphy, is uses these three strokes. So your downstroke is your main one that you need to focus on. This one is created in brush pen calligraphy or dip pen calligraphy by applying pressure when your stroke is going downward. So as in this K, I'm applying pressure when I go down, or when the T, I apply pressure. The second stroke is the upstroke, which is when you are going upward, as in this stroke here in the K, and you just apply very, very little pressure, just enough to touch the pen to the paper, but you're not creating any, you're just keeping it very thin and small, so you're not applying any pressure. The mid-stroke is like the crossbar in the T. This one is not as important. This can be, you can just kind of play around with it to discover your favorite thickness for that crossbar in the mid-stroke. It's usually kind of like an in-between stroke, or thin like an upstroke, where you apply very little pressure. So now that you know the three strokes, we are going to use these to create some calligraphy. So I created these worksheets that are completely free that you can get on my website, scribbleandgrace.com/brush calligraphy. They have the alphabet in both capital and lowercase, as well as this drill sheet, which is what I'm going to be working on today. This is completely free and totally awesome, and I hope you go ahead and download this and get it to practice with. I will put the links to that in the description below as well. So I am going to use the Tombow Fudenosuke hard tip brush pen. This is my all-time favorite brush pen, and it's great for beginners because it's really easy to control compared to other brush pens. It is a dark blue on the outside, but it writes with black ink. They also have the soft tip, which is very similar. It just has a little more give to it, so you can create a little bit wider of those downstrokes compared to with the hard tip. But this one is great for, either one is great for beginners, but this one is my number one recommended, the hard tip. I'll also show you a couple other brush pens that I'll use later on. This is the Pentel Touch brush pen. It comes in a bunch of different colors. It writes a lot like this Tombow soft tip, and this is a really great one, as well as this Tombow dual tip brush pen. So the brush is really big, so it creates great big letters or big projects that you're working on. One side is a brush pen and one side is just a normal marker. This one I do not use in my Bible just because it's a little too big for my purposes. It doesn't really fit my Bible page too much. This one I do not use in my Bible either because it bleeds through quite a lot and it is not waterproof. But if you do prep your Bible page beforehand, could be a really fun pen to work with on your Bible. Since I am a Bible journaler, I figured I'd give you my Bible journaling tip. This one is my all-time favorite pen to use. I use it in almost every single one of my Bible journaling entries, though. It's waterproof and it doesn't bleed through your page. So I love this pen. All right, so let's get started. All right, so in this worksheet, you can see on this side I have arrows showing which direction you're going. So in this first one, I'm going downward. So I know that when I'm going down, I'm going to apply pressure. So I'm going to start by pressing my pen down and just dragging it down at the same amount of pressure throughout my entire stroke. If you end up loosen up your pressure or something, you're going to create kind of a weird wobbly line, which is not what you want. So you want to just try to apply that consistent pressure all the way down. So just press down your pen and glide it down. Now for this next one, I'm going to do the upstroke, and this I'm just going to barely touch my pen to the paper and go upward. So I'm just hardly applying any pressure, just enough so that the tip of my pen is touching my paper. But I'm not, the brush pen bends when I apply that pressure, and that's what creates that thicker stroke. So if I'm not applying the pressure, that pen isn't bending, which is not going to create that thick line there. So here I'm going to start combining them. So I'm going to go up first and apply very little pressure, and then I'm going to go down and apply that pressure when I go down. This can be something that can be a little tricky, is figuring out how to change that pressure right away, and can take some practice if you're new. Here I'm going to do the opposite, where I go down first and then up. So I apply that pressure and then very little pressure. This is the Pentel Touch again. And again, it's the same exact thing. This one's going to create a slightly thicker downstroke because it is a little more bendy than my Pentel Touch pen was, or my Tombow Funosuke was. This one is slightly harder to control because it is softer, but it works exactly the same way. Here I'll show you the Tombow dual brush pen. And you can see this is going to create a much wider letter because the tip is so big. And then I'm going to go up. I'm going to do that. You can always do it in 2 strokes if you need, so you can go down, stop, and then pick it back up with your lighter pressure. So here I'm going to go up, stop, apply the pressure, stop, and then go up again. That can be a really great way to practice changing it up and then not having to directly go from one to the other. This pen is definitely harder to control. It doesn't create as thin of those upstrokes. But it's a great pen to try out. I'm going to go back to this one and I'll show you some of the letters here, just a couple of them. One thing that you do kind of want to notice is to hold your pen at a 45-degree angle. That does help a ton when doing brush pen calligraphy, is the angle that you hold your brush. It doesn't really necessarily matter how you hold it. Like, you could hold it like this or whatever weird people hold their pen like. But you do kind of want to hold it at that 45-degree angle like I'm doing here. Now this is doing calligraphy, which in itself uses script writing. So you use a cursive first and then you're adding the downstrokes. Of course, you could also use the same technique of applying pressure at the downstrokes to make other types of lettering, which I'll get more into in a different video, but I do just want to point out that you could also do like a sans serif, which is basically just like a capital lettering. It doesn't actually need to be capital, but it can be, and by just using the same technique. So I'm going to do an E here, so when I go down I'm applying the pressure, and then I'm going to do some mid strokes, which are kind of normal. L's, and when I go down I'm applying that pressure, and then here I'll add a O. So I'm going to apply that pressure and then loosen that up, and I'm going up for the upstroke, and that kind of creates a sans serif. I'll show you, maybe you can see it a little bit better on this paper. I'll do it again. So I go down, I'm applying the pressure. And this can create so many different forms of hand lettering. So this is really the basics that you need to know to get started with any type of hand lettering, is this upstroke and downstroke, and getting that pressure right for when you're going down and up. And that's really all there is to it. So I hope that you found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And be sure to go and download your free printable at my website, scribblinggrace.com/brush calligraphy. All right, thanks guys, bye.